All right, welcome everyone to the Dance of Attachment Masterclass for April. I'm so excited to get started. This is all about why smart women like us do dumb shit in relationships. Hello, sames, and how to break the patterns. And we are going to get into all of those concepts today and what all of that will look like. So, I already have heard from so many of you in the chat, getting to know everyone. That part is so good. I'm so glad that you are here, and I don't take it lightly that you have committed to spending the next hour with us here today. And I just want to make sure that you are ready to focus. So, whether you are at work, whether you are taking a lunch break, whether you are at home right now, being able to give this your full attention, I just want you to be able to give this the attention that you're able to. So I love being able to start us all off with a grounding exercise. And what this does is get us in the moment. So if you are able to just kind of take this moment to, shut down the other tabs, put your phone on silent, give this time to yourself if you can. Again, if you are driving or walking or at work, I want you to do what's best for you. There's no right or wrong way here. But what I want us all to do together, if we can, is just take a nice big deep breath in through our nose and then out through our mouth. Because it's so rare these days to give anything our undivided attention. And you showed up here for a reason. And I want to make sure that you are able to get that reason, right? I want to make sure that you are able to get the information that you're looking for, to ask the questions that have been on your heart this entire time, and to just take this moment no matter what it is for you. Even if you take nothing else out from today, you get to take this moment for yourself, and that's the most important part. So here's my promise for you today. By the end of our time together, you are going to understand exactly why nothing has worked for you so far, what the real reason behind your relationship patterns actually are, and then, most importantly, how to identify your specific attachment style and your nervous system wiring so you can finally choose the right approach instead of just guessing at it. Now, does that sound good? I hope it does. You can type yes in the chat if that sounds good to you, because I want you to imagine being able to skip over all of the guessing, over all of the trial and error and well, maybe this book will be different, or maybe this therapist will finally get me, and instead know exactly what's actually driving your pattern so you can address the root cause. When I learned how to identify what was actually happening to my nervous system and to my attachment style, it changed everything for me. It changed my clients' lives, and I know it can change yours too. So type yes in the chat if you are tired of guessing at solutions. I want to see who here is just so tired of that. Yes. Anna says yes. Nancy says yes. Hi, Anna. Lynette says yes. Beth says yes. Oh, I love that. I love the little strong arm. Lynette, that's perfect. Yeah. What if I told you, all right, that the reason nothing has worked to stop you from spiraling, shutting down, saying things you regret, it's not because you're broken, and it's not because you lack willpower, right? It's because you've been treating symptoms instead of actually understanding what the root cause of the pattern is. Think about it. When you go to a doctor with chest pain, they don't immediately prescribe heart surgery, right? What do they do first? They run tests. Maybe they do an EKG or some blood work, maybe a stress test. They assess what's actually happening before just starting random treatment. And the same principle applies to relationship patterns. You can't choose the right solution until you know exactly what you're dealing with. Maybe it's your attachment style. Maybe it's how your attachment style adapted when you were younger. Maybe it's your nervous system dysregulating in certain situations. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's all of them. But which specific patterns are showing up for you? Most people skip this crucial step. They jump from symptom to solution without understanding the underlying issue causing the patterns. That's why nothing sticks. And today I'm going to show you why identifying your specific root cause must come before anything else. All right, so type yes in the chat if you've ever felt like you were just guessing at solutions. Have you just felt like you are throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what would stick? I want to know. Yes, Nancy says yes. Lynette says yup. Beth says yes. Exactly. Because you're not alone here. And I think that's the most important part. Here's the new possibility that I want you to consider today. The reason you haven't been able to stop spiraling, shutting down, or repeating the same patterns isn't because you are broken and because there's no solution and you're stuck like this forever. That's what I used to believe. It's because you've been choosing band-aid solutions without knowing the real reason you're emotionally dysregulated in relationships. And once you know your specific attachment style and your specific nervous system wiring, you can address it directly and it changes everything. This new possibility that finding your real reason comes before choosing solutions is what we're going to explore together today. So type yes in the chat if you want to find your real reason for not being able to have the relationships you deserve. Yes, Beth says yes, beautiful. Angela says yes. Oh, I love that. Lisa says yes. Lynette says yes, please. I love that so much. All right. Let me ask you if you can relate to any of these. Let me make it bigger for you guys. Here we go. I keep trying to find a good one where you can see it all. Here we go. One, are you tired of guessing which approach might actually work for you? Like, maybe you should try another therapist, read another book, try meditation again, try yoga, but you're just shooting in the dark. Or two, are you frustrated because you don't know what's actually causing you to spiral, shut down, or overreact? You know that you do it. Trust me, you know that. But you don't know why your body takes over the way it does. Or three, do you feel like you're wasting time and money on solutions that don't address what's actually happening in your nervous system? You've tried so many things, spent so much money, and you're still here doing the exact same thing over and over again. Or maybe four, are you unsure how to determine what's actually causing you to become someone you don't recognize in relationships that matter most? You can see the pattern. You just don't understand what's driving it. Or number five, this one right here. Do you feel like if you just knew what was actually wrong, then you could fix it? Like, just tell me what's happening in my body so I could do something about it. Yeah, it should be that easy. But I want to know, do you guys relate to any of these? And oh, beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. I want to know what numbers. I want to hear from you in the chat. Which one of these sounds most like you? If none of these are the reason why you're here, I want to know that too. I want to get to know each and every one of you. I love running these master classes and really making them for each one of you that shows up. Each master class we run is completely different. So let's see. Lisa says number two. Perfect. And some of number four. Yeah. So you're frustrated because you don't know what's really causing you to spiral and you're unsure of how to determine what's actually causing it. Beautiful. I love that. Oh, Anna, everyone has an opinion on what you're doing wrong. Oh, yes. What do they say about opinions? They're like assholes. Everyone has one, but we don't need to hear it or see it or whatever. Exactly. What is up with that? Why does everyone seem to have an opinion about your dating life, about your love life, about your job, about who you are, what you wear, how you have your hair? Gorgeous. Oh, number two and number five for Lynette. I love that. Oh, yeah. Do you feel like if you just knew it was actually wrong, you could fix it? I love that. Number two. I'm sensing a lot of twos for this month. I love that. You're frustrated. I feel that frustration. I want you guys to really feel that frustration as we're moving along because that's a real feeling. Oh, beautiful. Number five, Beth says. Number two, Kimberly. Ooh, number one, says Susan and Angela. You're tired of guessing which approach might actually work for you. I think that was mine for the longest time. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, just tell me what to do so I could heal, and then I would just do it. But I didn't understand what it was. So I love that. Number two and number five have been huge for you, Anna. Aw, thank you. Thank you all so much for sharing that. You guys are so much fun in the chat. Express more if you feel like it. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on just as I'm still talking because I love to get to know you. But if you are nodding your head along in agreement to any of these points, I want you to know that you're not alone. I mean, you can literally see in the chat that you are not alone. And more importantly, it's not your fault. It is just really hard to know what to do, who to trust, what to listen to, and all of that together causes a lot of overwhelm and a lot of frustration because you've tried so much. No one that is here right now in this room hasn't tried. That's like for different people. That's like for brand new people. I tend to talk to women who have tried pretty much everything. Like, you've done therapy, right? Who's done therapy? I know I've done therapy. I've been in therapy since I was like 17. You've read books. I love books. Don't get me wrong. Look at my bookshelves. I love books. but they can only do so much. You've listened to the podcasts. Anyone have any good podcasts you listen to? You can drop them in the chat because I love a good podcast. But the truth is that no one has ever taught us how to identify what's actually happening. They just kind of talk at us a bunch, right? We don't know what's happening in our body. No one showed us how to figure out what our attachment style is, what our nervous system wiring is doing. And no one gave us a way to assess what we specifically need. So, of course, you've been guessing. Of course, nothing has stuck. Of course, you didn't have the information you needed. And that's not your fault. All right. Now, I want you to take a moment. Ooh, that's good. Hold on. Lynette says therapists just don't get it for the most part. Yeah, they have a very set way that they have to do things, and that's really what sets therapists and coaches apart. Is therapists have to be very beholden to this very specific way that they were taught in school. Trust me, I'm going to school for it right now, and I'm learning, oh wow, therapy like becoming a therapist kind of sucks with the way that they have to figure things out and talk to people. And they don't see us a lot of times because they are overworked and they're over challenged and they're held to these licensings. That is really hard. So yeah. Laura says I've taken a relationship course. Oh, that does sound like so much fun. What course? I would love to know what course you took. That's so fun. There's so many good courses out there. I've taken a lot of courses myself. That's how I did a lot of this work to find out what worked for me and what has now worked for my clients is taking all of these different types of courses. Oh, Nancy says Generations Deep by Gina Birkemeyer. I can say words. A book, workbook, and group counseling. I love that. That sounds good. Oh, Lisa, you're in the process of becoming a coach. That's so good. That's how I got started. That's so much fun. I think we need more coaches out there in the world like this. I think it's so, so good. I love that. Matt Boggs is very good. Oh, you guys have such great ones. Okay. So I want you guys to imagine something with me. Take all of this information that you've had, all of the work that you've been doing, and then I want us to go through a little visualization. So, again, if you're able to, let's settle into our bodies right now. Let's take a moment for ourselves. Again, remember, this is your time, this is your hour. Spend it as you want. But if you get a chance right now to really just breathe into your body, you can take a nice big deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's do that one more time. I want this to be the deepest inhale and exhale you have taken all day. Let the noise of the day settle in your ears. You can close your eyes if you want to, if you're able to, or you can soften your gaze, or you can just relax into this. I want you to imagine these scenarios with me as I talk to you right now. I want you to think about them as I share them out loud. And then after, I want you to tell me which one landed the most in your body. Just feel into your body. So, number one, you finally know exactly what you're dealing with instead of guessing. There's no more questioning yourself, no more, is it me? Is it him? Am I anxious? Is this a red flag? Is it my attachment style? Is he an asshole? No more guessing for you. You get to just be in this moment. You trust yourself. Let that one sit in your body, see how it feels. Two, you stop wasting time and money on solutions that aren't right for your specific nervous system and attachment style. You now know what actually works for your system. Just feel that. Feel that knowing. What does that feel like in your body to know what you need? Beautiful. Three, have a clear, personalized roadmap based on your specific patterns. You imagine knowing your exact roadmap that you need? No generic advice, no one size fits all approach, just your patterns, your nervous system, your mapping. What would that feel like to have that? And then four, imagine what it would feel like to stop second guessing yourself because you'll actually have clarity. You'll understand what's happening in your body and why. What would it feel like to have that clarity? And then five, Imagine you know the real reason behind your patterns, your attachment style, your regulation, your nervous system wiring, all of that that's been running the show. Imagine you know the real reason. Hmm. All right. Now, if you want to come back up to the surface, you can wiggle your body. You can give yourself a nice big stretch if it feels good to do so. Oh, I love that stretch, Lynette. Yes. Oh, big stretch. Whatever it is that you need to do to get comfortable here. Now, tell me in the comments which one of these resonated the most with you. As I was saying them, one of the things that we learn a lot inside the Speak Honest Academy, yes, you want to go to sleep now. That means it's working. Yes. Inside of the academy, we do a lot of body work. We do a lot of nervous system regulation, and we do lots of mindfulness and meditations and somatic processing. And that's one of the things that we do right there is lots of visualizations, imagining, and resting. Because when our bodies are rested, when our bodies feel like it wants to go to sleep, like Melanie was saying, then we are able to finally integrate what we are learning. That makes a huge difference. So you all kind of got to feel that right now, which I love. So let's see. Let me check the chat real quick. Oh, beautiful. Nancy says number 5. Know the real reasons behind your patterns. I love that. Oh, Anna said she felt peace. I love that. Yeah. Want to go to sleep. Oh, Lynette says her grounding is so relaxing. I agree. I feel sleepy. I know. I do too. I love it. Hmm. Lynette says, I would like all of the above. Oh, well, fine. Have them all. That's great. Lisa says number 5, perfect, but also 4. I like that distinction and nuance, Lisa. That really shows me that you really know how to lean into what you're feeling so you can understand the difference between the two. I love that so much. Angela says number 4, stop second guessing yourself. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that just feel so good if we don't second guess ourselves? Like if we just know that this is who we are and this is what we need and this is what we do? It's like it's mind blowing, but changes your entire life. It's so good. Anna, can't you just fix it all for us? Well, you know what, darling? Yes, I can, and that's what I'm doing for you. That's my favorite part. Oh, I love that so much. All right, so we got this all. Keep sharing in the chat. Keep talking. Keep interacting with one another. I want you guys to keep talking about what it is that you felt. If anything came up for you, maybe you felt something in your chest or in your stomach and your shoulders. I want to keep hearing about them. But before we go any further, I did want to introduce myself because I know for some of you know me well. Some of you have been following me for a while. Some of you are brand new here. In fact, you could let me know in the chat. How long have you been following Speak Honest, myself? Or are you brand new? Did you just happen to see this in one of the Facebook groups somewhere? Did someone else invite you? I'd love to know. Let me know in the chat how you found myself, how you found this masterclass, and I'm going to share a little bit. So I am Jen Noble. Hi, welcome. I am a professional certified coach with the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, which, if you're unfamiliar with that, it just basically is the only globally recognized licensing body for coaches, basically. And I am the founder of the Speak Honest Academy. I support smart, capable women who become emotionally dysregulated in relationships to finally trust themselves in the moments that matter most. So I have shared my work all over, but most notably, I have shared my work on the TEDx stage. I have written a book, as some of you know, about attachment and relationships called Dance of Attachment, Why Smart Women Do Dumb Shit in Relationships and How to Break the Patterns. Some of you might have the book. Some of you, that might be why you are here right now. In addition to all of that, I also have a podcast, the Speak Honest podcast, where I help women heal their patterns through coaching and different topics and having interviews. But what is most important for today's training is that I have learned how to identify the real reasons behind the relationship patterns. That's it. The specific attachment styles and nervous system wiring that most people completely miss. This is what allows me to help women finally understand what they're really dealing with instead of just guessing at solutions or hoping for the best. Because before all of this, I had no idea what was actually driving my patterns either. I mean, literally, I remember thinking, why can't I just be normal in relationships? Like, why do I always have to blow everything up all the time? Why do I keep doing this? These were the questions I would ask myself time and time again. I'd promise myself I would do it completely different next time, but what do you think happens when you get triggered? I thought, I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to abandon myself. I'm not going to chase him. And then something would happen. I would get activated. And suddenly I was right back there again, spiraling, saying things I didn't mean, becoming someone I don't even recognize. And honestly, I didn't really like. So I want to know, does anyone else feel like that? Tell me in the comments if you're struggling with the same thing. I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought I was doing all the right things, but kept ending up in the same place over and over again. Oh, thank you for that honesty, Kimberly. That means a lot. That's beautiful. Yeah, I just want to know. I want you guys to see as well that you're not alone. Do you feel like you're just hitting a brick wall all the time? Do you feel like you keep trying things, but it's not sticking? It's not working? That's what I want to know. I just want you guys to see that you're not alone. See that you have each other. See that we are all in this together to some extent because we're all trying to figure that part out. We are all kind of flying blind around what's going on. So, in that moment, I knew that I wanted to heal. Obviously, right? I think we all know that. Like you are here because you want to heal. And I knew that I wanted to feel the kind of love that you see in movies. But I also just didn't know where to start. It took years of trial and error for me to figure this out. I had to unlearn quite literally everything I thought was the right thing to do in relationships. And I realized how wrong most of it actually was. I tried every formula I could get my hands on. I tried self-help books. I tried podcasts, therapy sessions, all the different types of therapy sessions. I did like private therapy. I did therapy through my insurance. I did BetterHelp. Has anyone ever tried BetterHelp? I tried all these different healing modalities. And then when I got more and more into this, I started investing in training after training. I did somatic therapy. I did compassion inquiry with Gabor Mate. I did attachment therapy with the Embodiment Lab. I did internal family systems with Dick Schwartz. I did narrative therapy with Dr. Simone. I even went back to college because I knew there was something missing in all of this. It's just the more I kept trying to heal, I was like, what is going on? There's a missing piece here. And if I could just put my finger on it, I could figure this out. I was testing everything, trying to figure out what actually worked and what was just noise. And it was frustrating and it was exhausting. But above all else, it was lonely. I didn't have anyone during my healing journey who really understood what I was going through. And that was one of the hardest parts for me. There were moments where I just wanted to tell someone, here's exactly what's happening in your nervous system. Here's exactly what your attachment style needs. Here is the specific approach that will work for you. But I couldn't find that. So I had to figure it out myself. But I was committed. And I knew that I wasn't going to go back to my old ways. And eventually, through testing and stumbling and investing in my own professional education and certifications, I pulled together the pieces from all the different modalities. I trained it. And I created what would eventually become, that is, my dance method, DANCE. Now, what I discovered through all of that trial and error was that it wasn't that I had weak willpower, or it wasn't that I wasn't strong enough, or that I just needed to communicate better. I hated that one. I discovered that none of those things were actually the real issue. What actually I had was an insecure attachment style that had wired my nervous system to react to emotional closeness as danger. All right, I want you to hear that again. It was my insecure attachment style, or as I call oftentimes my non-secure attachment stance. It had wired my nervous system in a way where emotional closeness, that thing called a relationship, freaked the crap out of me. Does that relate to anyone else? Right? We don't think it does, but it does. And once I started to address that, once I started to actually address the root cause, everything started shifting. I learned how to identify what was happening in my body in real time. I learned how to slow down my responses, my reactions, my nervous system wiring before I reacted to anything. And I learned how to stay regulated enough to actually say what I needed without shutting down or exploding. Those are usually my two my two sides of the coin. I either shut down completely or I explode. And let me know in the chat. Are you someone that shuts down? Are you someone that explodes? Which one are you? For me, I was sometimes both, but yes. I want to know in the chat, which one are you? Both. Yeah, both, Lynette. Yeah, exactly. I know. I think a lot of us have both. But that's when I realized There is a way to identify the real reason behind your relationship patterns so you can choose the right solution for your specific nervous system and attachment style. Oh, beautiful, Angela, you shut down. Yes. See, that's so real. I love that. You don't need more generic advice. You don't need another book about communication. Like they're good and they're wonderful and they're great and they're healthy. But for those of us that are doing and doing and doing and nothing is changing, there's a reason why. Because you need to understand what's happening in your body so you can address it directly. And I want to share how I did all of that with you so you can skip over all of the years of trial and error like I had to. So type yes in the chat if you want a clearer path forward instead of guessing. Beautiful. Kimberly says yes. Angela says yes. I love this so much. All right. Now, we are about to get into the core concepts. Before we do, I just want to share a case study with you. Oh, I love this real quick. Hold on. Lynette says yes. Clearer path. Amen. Yes, I love that. Beth says yes, please. Mellow Me says I became a robot. Just kept on and on. Ooh, ooh. I just want to like take a moment with that. I became a robot. That's beautiful. Yeah, right? That's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I think those are the kind of things that just help us all feel connected because I can feel that robot that like you just go on and on and on and on and you're not really living your best life. You're just kind of going through the motions, so to speak. I love that. Anna says, "Yes, please now." I feel like I just allowed the the shit to continue and suffered in silence. Yes. Oh, yes, it's so true. We don't have to suffer in silence anymore. Thank you, girl, for being here. I love that. Okay. So let me tell you about Sarah. It's important that you see examples of what real success looks like so that you can ground yourself in knowing that this is possible for you too. So when I first connected with my client, Sarah, she was exhausted. Like you could just see it in her face. She had been, it felt like she had been running a marathon that she never actually signed up for, right? She was just running and running and running. It kind of reminds me of what you're saying, Melanie, right? Just that robot thing of just going and going and going and going. Sarah, she was a project manager. She was smart. She was capable. She was killing it at work. But in relationships, she just became someone else entirely. So she told me about another relationship that had just fallen apart in her life and how this wasn't the first time. It never is. Every guy she had dated seemed to pull away the second things got real. And instead of walking away, right, instead of realizing, oh, he's just not for me, she would work harder. She would send more texts. She'd go out of her way to do little things for them. She would bend herself into every direction just to try to keep the connection alive. Oof, does that sound familiar? I know I used to do that. Then she'd lie awake, replaying texts in her head over and over again, questioning, did I say too much? Did I not say enough? Terrified she was going to scare him away. And at one point she laughed, but it was one of those laughs where you can tell there are just kind of tears right behind it. And she said to me, Jen, I just feel like I'm auditioning for the role of girlfriend and I never get the part. Oof. That one, it still gets to me because I know what she meant. Sarah had been trying everything. She had read the books. She'd listened to the podcast. She'd done the courses. She'd gone on what she called a man fast, which is where she was swearing off dating for months. But no matter what she did, she always ended up right back into the same pattern with just a different face. And by the time we talked, she had started to believe that maybe she was the problem. But here's the truth. Sarah wasn't the problem, and she wasn't at fault, and she's not broken. And she wasn't just bad at relationships. She was stuck in an attachment pattern that had been wired into her nervous system since childhood. Her body was pulling her towards what was familiar, not what was healthy. And so every time she felt close to someone, her nervous system would go into panic mode and she'd either shut down completely, like we were talking about, or she'd become so clingy in ways that made her cringe later, like she didn't even know who she was. She didn't know what her attachment style was. She didn't know what was happening in her nervous system. She was just guessing at solutions and hoping something would stick. But once she went through the Speak Honest Academy and through the Dance of Attachment course that we have inside of there, she identified her specific attachment style. She understood her nervous system patterns, and then everything started to shift. She learned how to recognize when her body was getting activated and then slow herself down before she reacted. Isn't that so powerful? To know how to stop spiraling over texts, how to stop chasing the men that don't give you the attention that you deserve. And she started trusting herself. And eventually she opened up to a relationship where she felt safe, seen, and secure without losing herself in the process. And for the first time, she could trust herself when her emotions came up. In fact, she welcomed her emotions. They weren't something that was holding her down anymore. Her emotions became her blueprint to her life. Now, can you imagine trusting yourself in the moment when it matters most? Or feeling calm and steady in relationships instead of constantly on edge, wondering what's going to happen? Being able to say what you need without shutting down or exploding, it's a game changer. But most importantly, actually enjoying the relationship you're in while it's happening. For so long, we just wait for the other shoe to drop. We're constantly waiting for the next fight to happen, or what's the next time we're going to piss him off, or when is the next time we're going to get upset or be crying. When was the last time you just enjoyed your relationship? You just enjoyed a man, right? When was the last time? But that's what becomes possible when you identify your specific root cause and address it directly. So I want you to type me in the chat if you'd love to know the real reason behind your patterns so you can finally start choosing the right solution. We're going to jump into the core concepts. Beautiful. Angela says me, Lynette says me. Yes, let's do this. All right, let's dive into the first, right? So we've got three core concepts. So if you are taking notes or if you have anything you want to start taking notes with, this is where we are going. Core concept number one, why has nothing worked? All right, let's start with what's really going on in your life right now. If you are like most smart, capable women I work with, you are dealing with some very specific things in your relationships. You might be spiraling over texts. Listen, if any of these resonate with you as I'm kind of saying them, like let me know in the chat. Do you spiral over your texts? You constantly read them, replaying what he said, what you said, questioning if you said too much or not enough, or questioning his emoji. Why did he leave a red heart last night, but the day before he had a pink heart? What does that mean, right? This is spiraling. Yeah, Lynette says spiral for sure. Question what I said, what he said. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you're shutting down during conflict. Even when you want to talk, your body you freeze. Right? Have you ever just had that freeze moment? Or you pull away completely. You find an excuse to get out of the conversation. You run away. Maybe, as we were talking about before, you say things you regret when your emotions kick in. You're overreacting, you're over explaining. Do you ever want to just over explain? You just need him to understand why you feel and think the way that you do because you think if you can just get him to understand, it'll fix everything. And then you regret all of the things that you say. That part's so hard. Oh, Nancy says, I want to stop ruminating over the same conversation all night. Yes. Yes, exactly. That rumination over and over again. Why do we do this? Why do we say this? Why did I say this? Why did he say that? And I over explained for decades. Over explaining is such a way, especially in our attachment styles, especially for anxiously attached women, for us to feel connected. And so something we work with inside of the academy is learning how to stop over explaining, learning how to trust in ourselves and learning not how to get someone else to see our side of things. Maybe you're constantly on edge in your relationships, waiting for something to go wrong, waiting for that shoe to drop, unable to relax and just enjoy being with someone you care about. Does ever just, that's what you're talking about. Like, right, just when was the last time you just enjoyed your partner? If you're not in a relationship right now, maybe you're dating, maybe you're in a situationship. There's all types of women in the academy. But for you, what is that like? When was the last time you just had fun? That's what I just want you guys to have fun. That's what life is about. Oh, and Nancy says, even if I did explain well, nothing ever changed. Yes. Right there is actually such a key. No matter how much we try to explain to someone else, oftentimes things don't change. The change comes from when we start understanding it inside and learning how to show up differently. So I love that you brought that up. Thank you, Nancy. These Simpsons, they're not just annoying, right? They're not just like, oh, a little fly over here. They are fundamentally shaping all of our relationships and they are disrupting your life. Maybe you're lying awake at night, replaying the same conversation, just like we were talking about. What was that? Was that Angela? No, that was Nancy that said that. Yeah, ruminating over the conversations, unable to shut your brain off because you're convinced you messed up, he messed up, someone messed up, all of that. But that ruminating, it infiltrates everything. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit with core concept number 2 of how it affects all these different areas of our life. Or maybe you're questioning your own judgment. Like, who here doesn't trust themselves? Like, you don't even know what to say you need because what if it's not real? We have been programmed to not trust ourselves, ladies. As women in this society, we have been gaslit, we have been questioned, we have been judged. So it's no wonder we can't trust ourselves in a relationship anymore. Yeah. Oh, Lynette, that's so honest. Thank you. I don't trust what I'll say sometimes out of fear. Listen to that. And this affects your sense of self. You know that you're capable. You know that you're smart. Listen, a lot of you right now, you're at work, you're doing your shit, you're doing good things. And then it's like, okay, great. I know I'm good here. So why in a relationship does this keep blowing up in my face? Why in a relationship do all of a sudden I turn into someone else? Now, I want you to type yes in the chat if any of this sounds like your daily reality. And some of you already are letting me know what it is that was really resonating with you as I was saying. But again, if any of these really resonated with you, oh, Susan, oh yes, I love that. I love that oh right before. I feel like that really resonated. Beth, I don't trust what to say, what I need, because they will go away. I just want to take a moment with that one. If I say what I need, they will go away. Listen to that. Oh, yeah. Thank you, whoever gave Beth a hug on that one. That's really beautiful. I want to hold space for that one. Because I felt like that too. It did. It gave me chills too, Lynette. Yeah. And I think we've both seen that in the group and the academy, and she's not alone. Because as soon as we speak up for what we need, people can't handle it. Because in our lives, in our childhood, we were brought up by people who didn't let us have needs. Oh, Susan, beautiful. Thank you for hugging as well. See, this is the community. We haven't even talked about how much community means to all of this, but this is so beautiful. All right. Now, I know you're not sitting here doing nothing about this. You've all tried so many things. We talked about all the things. So many of you have done so many courses. You've done your books. You've done your therapy, right? And traditional therapy, it doesn't always work. We talked about why not. Individual therapy, maybe even couple therapy, although I do like both. And I think there is a point for both of them. I want to be very clear here. Anytime I kind of talk about these, they all have a purpose. It's just if you're here, then something about those haven't been working. They work for so many people, but some of us, we're a little bit extra sensitive. Good. Some of us need a little bit extra help. Yay. Some of us had a little bit shittier childhoods than others, okay? Let's just call a spade a spade. So we need a little bit extra help, and that's okay. So traditional therapy, self-help books, podcast meditations, taking man fasts from datings, trying harder with communications, all of that stuff is not always going to work because they are geared towards being talked at. Some of us have probably spent thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to heal and just have a reasonable, happy, healthy life. And yet here you are. You're still spiraling. You're still ruminating. You're still shutting down. You're still just moving on and on with your life as if you are a robot. And you're still becoming someone you don't recognize in your relationships that matter most. Maybe you meet a new guy and then you just, whew, all of that smart stuff you learned went right out the window. Maybe you do great when, you're away from your husband, but all of a sudden then he gets home and you're blowing up again, no matter how hard you try. I get it. It's frustrating. I've been there. I know what that feels like. It's why I have made it my mission to help women get back on their feet in their relationships and not have it cost them an arm and a leg. And I'll talk more about that later. But right now, let's talk about why nothing has worked. Here's the truth about why none of these has worked. All of these approaches you've tried, they are treating symptoms, not the real reason behind your relationship patterns. All right? All of these approaches you've tried, they are just treating the symptoms. I just want to make sure you're hearing that. You have done everything right. In fact, you wouldn't be here today without having done all that other stuff. So great job, right? Sometimes we have to go through that. But it's like taking pain medication for a broken bone. The pain might go away temporarily, but the bone is still broken. So the pain keeps coming back and nothing actually gets healed. And sometimes it can make it worse. You're spiraling, you're shutting down, you're overreacting. Those are symptoms, okay? We don't want to get rid of those. We want to look at them. Is that really tracking? Those are actually really beautiful. Like if I hear that you're spiraling or shutting down or overreacting as your coach, I say, yay, now we know what to work with. Those are your body's way of telling you something deep is wrong. Imagine you put your hand on a stove and it's on and it burns. Do you want me to turn off your pain receptors? No. Because what's going to happen if you leave your hand on that stove for too long? It's going to burn off. Your pain receptor is what's keeping you safe. Your spiraling is your superpower. When you shut down, that is your body's way of keeping you safe and protecting you. And girl, I am so proud of the way that you shut down. When you overreact, I'm going to tell you right now, you're probably not overreacting. You're probably still underreacting because you know what you need and it's okay to ask for that thing. The problem is that we have been taught that this stuff is not okay to have. Communication books told you what not to say, but they didn't teach you how to stay regulated enough to actually say what you need when you're triggered. Meditation helps you feel calm in the moment. God, I love meditation now. And when you're alone on the couch, it's great. But it doesn't address what happens when emotional intimacy activates your entire nervous system. And taking breaks from dating, it does work. It helps. It regulates your nervous system, but it doesn't change your attachment wiring. It just kind of puts off what's going to happen. So, of course, as soon as you start dating again, what do you think's going to happen? Those patterns are going to show up again, but with a different face. Same patterns, different face. None of these approaches address what's actually happening in your body. Your attachment stance, right? So anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. And your nervous system wiring. It's what we call our somatics, our soma, our felt sense. And this has been running the show since childhood. This is not your fault. Literally, you learned this before you could even talk. You weren't treating the broken bone. You weren't treating the burn. You were just managing the pain. You were taking painkillers to try to turn it all off. But what if we actually listen to our bodies? What if we actually start digging in and seeing, oh my God, maybe this is okay. Maybe what I need is allowed. So now that you understand your attachment stance and your nervous system wiring is the real reason behind your relationship patterns, let me come here. Let me tell you about exactly how this is systematically destroying every area of your life. All right. Most people think relationship patterns are just about, relationships. But your attachment style and nervous system wiring doesn't just stay in your romantic life. It infiltrates and spreads everywhere. Because when you can't trust yourselves in the moments that matter most, when you're constantly on edge, when you're replaying conversations with him in your head for days and you're ruminating, that energy has to go somewhere, right? And it's bleeding into everything else in our life. So let's start with your work life. All right. We are on to core concept number 2. How your attachment style and your nervous system wiring is destroying your life. Let me check in with the chat as we get caught up with everything. Anna says, I am so exhausted. I get it, girl. Meditation is calming. It takes the edge off, especially with a cat purring. I do love a good cat purr, but it doesn't solve it. No, it takes the edge off is such a good way of putting it. Meditation is like, what do they say? Meditation's like medication, right? Like it's good in the moment and we need it in order to help. But that's like a top-down problem. We want to take it from the bottom up, right? We want to go from the inside out, not from the outside in. And that's where we learn about that inside of the academy. Lynette says, I love that. Maybe what I need is allowed. Yes, maybe what I need is allowed. I just like, maybe everyone should just write this down somewhere in their notes. What you need is allowed. What you need is allowed. Thank you for writing that, Lynette. That's so good. Lynette says, we are so often told that what we need isn't right. It's stupid, etc. And it shapes us. Ooh, powerful. Yeah. Or you get just get over it. You're overthinking. It's not that big of a deal. If one more person tells me it's not that big a deal, I'm going to just be like, fly off the face of my seat and be like, excuse me, it is a big deal to me. So sit down and listen. Okay. And that's where we're going to get. We're going to get to a place where we can actually see what is a big deal, how to stand up for that, and how to find people in our lives who are willing to listen to those big deals. Because if you come to me and you say, this is a big deal, Jen, I need you. I'm going to sit right down in my seat. I'm going to grab my drink and I'm going to say, then tell me all about it. If it is a big deal to you, it is a big deal to me. And those are the people we need in our lives. All right. So let's look at now how this is affecting our work. as I am sharing some of these, I want to see where you guys feel resonant with some of these. We're going to talk about all the different areas. So let's start with work life. I know some of you are at work today, right? Some of you are on your lunch breaks, or some of you are sneaking this in on the side while you're working or doing your thing. I got you. I see you. So I want to see what happens in our relationships because our attachment wiring and our nervous system dysregulation is going to cause issues everywhere. So your emotional bandwidth is going to be drained by relationship anxiety. All right. If you're sitting in meetings, but your brain is replaying last night's conversation with him, and you're trying to focus on a project, but you're spiraling because he hasn't texted you back this morning, what do you think that's going to do to your job? You're not going to be able to actually sit with the things that you need to in your life. You're going to have your attention everywhere. But in addition to just like being scattered and disorganized, your confidence is going to be eroded. So you know you are capable and competent at work, but the version of yourself that shows up in relationships, the one who spirals or overreacts or who can't trust her own judgment, it's starting to make you question yourself at work now. Maybe you're not so capable. Maybe you're not so competent. And that really affects you at work. And so your performance starts suffering because you're exhausted. You're lying awake at night replaying conversations. Maybe you're staying up late at night to have the same fight with him over and over again, and you're not sleeping. You're emotionally depleted from managing relationship anxiety, and you don't have the energy left to show up the way you want to professionally. This isn't just affecting your performance, it's affecting your confidence, your relationships with colleagues, and potentially your career trajectory. Because when you're spending this much mental, emotional energy managing relationship anxiety, you're not bringing your best full self to your job. You're just running on fumes. So I want to know, type work in the chat if this resonated with you. Type work in the chat if your relationship patterns are affecting your professional life. Oh, hey, Steph. I just saw. Oh, thanks, Steph. I joined Jen's program for help with my dating life, and surprise, she helped me so much with my work life. I was thinking about you when I did this. I didn't even know you were going to be on today. That's so fun. Yeah, we've come a far way with your work life. I love that. Hello. Welcome, Sabrina, as well. Lynette says, I have been there for sure. I am not good enough at what I do. Ooh, yeah, feel that. I'm not good enough at what I do. And then Lynette says, I have gone into work and had a horrible day due to relationship stuff. Yeah, we bring that all in, right? It doesn't just stop at the door, it doesn't leave us at the house, it comes everywhere. Beth says, work, exhausted always. Exhausted seems to be a theme today, ladies. Are you noticing that? Look at this exhaustion. Oh, Hannah says joining Jen's program for the very first time literally set up a boundary with a family member. Yes, you did, girl. Yes, you did. And I have never been able to do that before. I know. I'm still so proud about that. I know. Yay. Everyone give Anna a huge round of applause for that. That was a huge boundary. Yes, Angela, I love that. Yes. Oh, all right. Now, that's work, right? But let's look at how it's affecting your other relationships because relationships aren't just about him, right? They're not just about our romantic relationships. They're about all of them, our friendships and our family. And your attachment wiring and your nervous system patterns are probably causing so much of those issues to come into those relationships as well. So, one thing that happens a lot, and I see this happen a lot, happened to myself, was you are exhausting your friends with the same breakup stories or relationship problems over and over and over again. Now, listen, girls, you know they love you. Our friends, they love us. But at the same time, you can feel them getting tired of hearing about the same fight over and over again. Am I right? And it makes you feel a little bit more isolated because then it's going to push you away and you're not going to have that friendship you need because you just want to talk again about how much he pisses you off or what he did or the fact that you're on again, off again. And your girl is like, I don't know if I can listen to this anymore. I know I lost friends when I had my big breakup back in 2020. That's all I wanted to do was talk about him. It bled into every aspect of my life. I made him my entire personality. And it meant I lost some friendships along the way. Or maybe you're pulling away from people who care about you because you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed that this marriage that you're in isn't working. You're embarrassed that this relationship that you told your friends was he was the one. This is it. And now you're breaking up. Oh my God, how can I show my face to my friends? Right? You don't want them to see you like this. So you withdraw. And then what happens? That makes your loneliness worse. And you can't be fully present in other relationships when you're with your friends or your family, but your mind is elsewhere. You're checking your phone. You're distracted. You're wondering when he's going to text you back. You're replaying the fight. You're not really there because you're too busy managing your relationship anxiety. The people closest to you are watching you struggle, and you might be pulling away because you don't want them to see you like this. And so loneliness becomes bigger, which means you rely on this romantic relationship even more to get all of your needs met, which means you push him away more, which means then your friends and your family get further and further away. And that's the thing. Isolation makes all of this worse, and it becomes this vicious cycle. You need connection and support, but your patterns are keeping you from being able to receive it. So I want you to type personal in the chat if this resonated, if this is affecting your connections with other people at all. Let's see. Let's check the chat. You guys are getting all chatty now. I love it. Laura, nothing I ever did was good enough for Dad, which caused me to be a people pleaser. Yes, Anna says that is me with my mom. It sure is. Yeah. Lynette says that's how I feel sometimes with my family. You're not alone. I am a people pleaser too, and it can be so hard. Yes. Hail to all the people pleasers. People pleasers unite. That is so many of us as women. We are so many of us people pleasers. We want to please because if we please, we think they stay. And if they stay, then we're not alone. We're not abandoned. We're lovable. It's where it all comes from. It goes all the way back there. That's part of our attachment style. Thank you for sharing that, Laura. That's very vulnerable. Lynette says, oops, why I found Jen from a friend who heard. It is actually very true. Lynette came into my academy because a friend was like, I can't keep hearing this anymore. Go to Jen. So that was very true, which actually worked out for the best. So that was good. Oh, Steph says, I feel like I'm being directly called out. At one point, my best friend said to me, I'll listen to you about Matt as much as you need, but dot, 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 dot. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. We bring these relationships into all these other aspects, and these people are like, listen, I love you, girl, but I don't love him. I need you to stop talking about him. I have friends that still do this even to this day. And it's amazing how we make these men our personality. And that's one of those things I just want to stop. Oh, Sabrina says oh goodness, all of that. I really see that this one is really infiltrating your friends and your family, guys. I think that's important. Nancy says, I was getting there till I started learning about relationships. I was a people pleaser too. I love to see your growth. That is amazing. If we please, it brings peace. That's so good. And if we please, it brings peace momentarily, right? It's that sense of like, I just want to keep the peace, but the peace inside, it's not there. So we build up resentment and then we explode and we don't know how to set boundaries and then things get worse, right? Nancy says so many ways to be abandoned. Oh, Sabrina says I'm going through a breakup right now. Big hugs. Yes, thank you, Lynette. Big hugs. Breakups are hard. My breakup destroyed me. It also is what built me back up and where I am today. I can see now, looking back, it was one of the best things that happened to me, but not in the moment. And you are not there yet, so don't even go there. It sucks. It's terrible, and we hold you. Breakups are not fun at all. So let's see how this is affecting your sense of self. You are losing trust in your own judgment. All right. This is one of the most painful parts. Your attachment wiring and your nervous system dysregulation, it is messing with your sense of self. You used to be confident in your decisions, but now you're constantly second guessing yourself. Did I overreact? Am I being too sensitive? Can I even trust my own instincts now? Those thoughts come up and again and again and again. You're watching yourself become someone you don't recognize. You know you're smart. You know you're capable. You know you're grounded. But then in a relationship, you spiral. You shut down. You overreact. And the disconnect between who you are everywhere else and who you become in relationships is eating at you. And your self-worth is eroding. Every time you repeat the same pattern, every time you say something you regret, every time you spiral over a text, It chips away at how you see yourself. You start to believe maybe there is really something wrong with me. Maybe I am broken. Maybe I will never heal, and this is just what I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And I think this might be one of the hardest parts. Knowing that your relationship patterns aren't just affecting your relationships, they're affecting your core sense of self. You are losing trust in yourself, and that is devastating. So type self in the chat if this resonates with you. Type self in the chat if you feel like your self-worth is eroding because of your relationships. If you feel like this is affecting your connection with yourself. Beautiful, Sabrina. Thank you. Sabrina says self. Beth says self. Oh, so powerful. Now, I know these were all pretty heavy, and I want to give you all a moment to just kind of sit in these feelings and sit in the conversations we're having in the chat just so you can see you're not alone and we're all in this together. But I also want you to know there is a solution to all of this, and that's what I want to dive into next. All right. So now that you understand what your attachment stance and nervous system wiring is doing, and that's the real reason behind your spiraling, your shutting down, and your overreacting, and that's affecting every area of your life, the question is, okay, what's next? Great, thanks, Jen. Now I feel depressed and I'm sad and this all really sucks. What are we going to do about it? Well, let me share with you the discovery that changed everything for me and for my clients. So I'll never forget the moment I realized you can't change attachment patterns by trying harder or having more willpower. Willpower doesn't exist. It's a whole thing. Everything I had been taught was just ass backwards. Instead of trying to change my behavior or control my reactions, I needed to teach my nervous system a new way to experience connection. And through all of the different modalities and trainings and certificates I have taken, I developed my dance method. DANCE. It is a system specifically designed to address your attachment stance and your nervous system at the source. Not just manage the symptoms, not just manage your reactions or your behaviors or the things that you say. Because here's what I discovered. When you work directly with your nervous system and your attachment stance, the symptoms like spiraling, shutting down, and overreacting, they just naturally stop. I know it seems wild, but you don't have to white knuckle your way through hard conversations. It shouldn't have to be hard to keep your mouth shut. It shouldn't have to be hard to say what you need. It should just flow naturally. You don't have to force yourself to stay calm. You don't have to, talk yourself into things. You address what's happening in your body, and then the rest follows. That's the framework I now teach inside of the Speak Honest Academy. So here's the big picture of what needs to happen to address your attachment stance and your nervous system. All right, so phase 1, you need to discover your attachment stance. That's D. This phase focuses on identifying your specific attachment patterns and how they show up in your relationships. You can't change what you don't see. So this is where we bring awareness to the automatic patterns your nervous system has been running. This is so much more than just saying, I'm anxiously attached. You'd be surprised at the amount of women that come into my practice thinking they know what their attachment stance is, and then we get to know each other and we realize, oh no, hold on, it's completely different than what we thought. When I first started doing this work, I took some quiz online that told me I was anxiously attached and slightly secure. None of that was true. I'm, in fact, very disorganized attached with a lot of avoidant attachment. But when I took that quiz, it caught me in one moment, and just that one moment, not my overarching pattern. So there's like a 3-step system that we do inside of the academy so you can discover your attachment stance. 2, alleviate your attachment wounds. This is where we address the root pain. This is where we go into your nervous system. See, early attachment wounds wired your nervous system to perceive connection a very specific way for you. And so we're not just talking about them. We are healing them at the nervous system level. And I work with you one-on-one to figure out what your wounds are, what you need to be able to heal them. And then we work through a process that I call somatic affirmations, where we are literally rewiring your nervous system from the inside out. So that way you feel more at ease. You have more fun in your relationships and you feel more confident in who you are. So that's phase 2, probably the most important phase. If I could probably talk for an hour on just that phase. But phase three, this one is very fun. This is where we're going to nurture your needs, right? We talked before. How many of you are so afraid to share your needs because then you're afraid they're going to run away? Oftentimes, this is just in the way that we don't even really know what we need. We just want someone else to read our mind, or we think we know what we need, but what we're really doing is moving the goalpost on our partners consistently. So in this phase, we teach you how to identify and meet your needs without shame. Because most women with insecure attachment stances either don't know what they need or they feel guilty for having needs at all. Or the biggest one that we have, the biggest issue with needs is we don't know how to receive them. That's probably the biggest thing that I see in most women. So he brings you home flowers, but you're mad because they're carnations and not roses. That was something I did. That's why I can say that. And so as soon as he does actually become loving towards you, you push it away. That's why we talk about in phase three. Phase four, communicate with confidence. This is where we build the skills you need to set boundaries and express yourself without losing connection. You learn how to say what you need without shutting down or exploding. And you learn how to handle it when you do set that boundary and they don't like it. Whew, that's a tough one. Because let me tell you, there's a reason we haven't been setting boundaries with our loved ones, ladies, because they don't make it easy. So I teach you how to set boundaries and then how to sit with yourself when they throw a temper tantrum because of it. And then phase five, my favorite phase, embody secure attachment. In this final phase, we practice the new patterns until they become your new normal. This is where the change becomes permanent, where trusting yourself in relationships becomes automatic instead of something you have to think about. Now, here's why this approach works when everything else has failed. Each phase builds on the previous one. You can't skip phase one and go to phase three because it doesn't work that way. It's a very scaffolding effect that I've created inside of the Academy. Phase one has to happen first because you need to see your attachment patterns clearly before you can change them. Most women are operating on autopilot, not even realizing when their attachment style is driving their reactions. Then phase two can work because once you can see the patterns, you can trace them back to the attachment wounds where they got started in the first place. And when you address those wounds at the nervous system level, these patterns, they start to loosen their grip on you. Phase three then becomes possible because once you have started healing your wounds, you can actually identify what you need without shame or guilt. So often we try to jump into just communicating our needs, but we can't because phase two and phase one haven't happened yet. Phase four, learning how to communicate effectively, is only effective once you know your needs, you trust that they're valid, and you've cleaned up your wounds to be able to communicate them. Otherwise, you're just learning scripts and you show up and you try to tell your husband something and then you shut down and you blow up and you get mad at each other again. And then phase five is where it all becomes permanent. This is where we take it out of our heads, where we're intellectualizing everything and we integrate it, where you practice your new patterns with support until your nervous system rewires. Trusting yourself becomes more automatic. And this is why random solutions don't always work. They're trying to do phase four, which are communication skills, but you don't even have the foundations of phase one or two yet. And so they're trying to change behavior without addressing your nervous system. So nothing is actually sticking or working. And then it just reinforces this belief that you're broken. And this framework, it works because it's specifically designed to address your specific attachment stance and your nervous system systematically. So instead of treating symptoms, we're addressing the source. Instead of giving you scripts that you can't use when you're triggered because your prefrontal cortex is shut down, it's offline, and your amygdala is firing everywhere, we're teaching your nervous system a new way to experience connection. And instead of just gaining insight, you're getting tools you can use to actually integrate this into your daily life. Now, I've seen women go from spiraling over every text to trusting themselves in relationships. In fact, today, I love it, but there's a couple of those women here today, and you'll get to hear from them in a little bit. But they've gone from shutting down during conflicts to being able to have honest conversations with their partners. They're hard, but they're needed. They've gone from constantly being on edge to actually feeling safe and steady with someone that they care about. And here's what's crucial to understand. This doesn't happen overnight. And it can't happen in 90 days or in 60 days or whatever else you get told out there online. I think that's the part that is really hard for me to get this across. But they say in research, healing your attachment stance can take anywhere from 1 to 4 years. But what I give you is every tool you need to get there. Okay, because here's the missing piece that makes all of the difference. You need ongoing support and community while your nervous system rewires. This isn't a course you just take once and then you're done. It's not a course where you just sit there and you do it on your own and you never actually finish it. This is a practice. This is a process. It's a journey. Because your nervous system has been wired for years, probably decades, to respond to connection as threat. And you can't undo that with one weekend workshop or one therapy session or 50 minutes once a week. You need a clear framework so you know exactly what to focus on at each stage. You need live coaching so you can spot patterns in real time and get support when you're triggered. And you need a community of women who get it, who get you, so you're not alone. So you can practice vulnerability and connection with people who understand the language of attachment. And you need accountability so you can keep showing up when your attachment stance is screaming at you to do something you don't want to do. And that's why I created the Speak Honest Academy the way that I did. It's not just a course, it is a container for long-term change. So type yes in the chat if this is the kind of support that you have been looking for. Because I know that this was a lot. Let me just review what we've talked about. You can see how important it is to have this clear framework, this ongoing support, and a community of women who finally get it to help you break free from these patterns. You can feel the support in the chat right now. If you have been able to share some of the stuff that you've been going through and felt that connection with the ladies holding you, that's what it's like inside the academy. Oh, Sabrina says yes. Kimberly says yes. Now, today we covered our core concepts. We covered why nothing has worked, why you've been trying to solve body problems with mind solutions, why you've been treating symptoms instead of addressing the source. And then core concept number 2, how your attachment and nervous system wiring is destroying all areas of your life, all relationships, yourself, your work, your friendships, your family. It's not just affecting this one relationship with this one man. It's bleeding into everything. And core concept number 3, the solution that actually works. The dance method, a systematic approach that addresses attachment and nervous system wiring at the source, with ongoing support while your nervous system heals. So now, do you see how possible it is? It actually is possible for you to finally stop spiraling, shutting down and saying things you regret, and instead trust yourself in the moments that matter most. Because right now, after learning all of this, genuinely speaking, you have two choices. This is genuinely like it just, I told you something, you've learned something new, so now you have two choices. You can continue on doing what you've been doing, which is like totally fine, actually. Trying therapy that gives you insight but not integration. Scrolling TikTok and learning in bite-sized chunks. Reading books that disappear the second you're triggered. Meditating alone but not knowing how to regulate in the actual moment. Each time hoping for something different. Or we can do this together. And I can guide you step by step through the process of rewiring your attachment stance and your nervous system patterns and making sure that you follow through even when you're triggered, even when you're scared, even when your attachment stance is screaming at you to run away. Now, if you want to choose option 1, then I want to say thank you so much for being here today with us. And I hope you got as much as you could from this class. Genuinely speaking, it means the world to me that you spend this time here and that you come and hang out with us. And if you're looking for option 2 and it's looking good to you, then I would love to tell you about my Speak Honest Academy. But it's important to me to only share this with the women who genuinely want to hear about it. So please let me know in the chat. Is it okay with you if I tell you about the Speak Honest Academy and how it can help you heal what's been holding you back from the relationships you deserve? And I do genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. If this is not for you, then thank you so much. You will still get the replay. You are still a part of our community, and maybe you want to join again in a couple months, but it's not for you right now. But I only want to talk to the women who actually want to hear about it because I don't like doing weird salesy things. So good. All right. Love it. Anyone that is still here, you are here, and I love this. This is so fantastic. I see the yeses. Sabrina says yes. Nancy says yes. So before I get started, I want to share with you all the link and let you know that today, while you're on this meeting right here with us today, I do have a really fun special offer for all of you. So, since the Speak Honest Academy is the only relationship coaching program of its kind that addresses your attachment style and your nervous system wiring at the source, you get the ongoing coaching, the community support, the step by step framework, so you can finally trust yourself in relationships without losing yourself in the process. This might be new to some of you, and some of you might be like, what the heck is this academy, and who the hell are you, Jen? And I want to honor that because I used to also have trust issues. So that's why I want to offer you a chance to try out the Speak Awesome Academy for a full month completely for free. So I want you to head to the link that's going to get dropped in the chat. And then I want you to use the code Secure Start to get your free trial. So I want to start there, right? I don't want to like build up all of this stuff, get you hooked, and then that's how it is. I want to tell you from the start, you are going to get to try this for free. To me, personally, it's a no-brainer. What do you have to lose? Come and join us, see what we're like. In fact, some of you can join us literally tonight, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But I wanted to let you know about this before I start talking about it. That way, if you have any questions or you get stuck trying to sign up, you can drop them in the chat while I'm talking. So that way you can do it. That way as well, if you just wanted to come real quick and you need to get back to work, grab your code, sign up. I'll see you tonight at our group coaching Q&A that is going on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you there. But what does working with me inside of the Speak Honest Academy actually look like? Now, I thought it would be helpful to walk you through the academy so you can see how you will stop spiraling, shutting down, and overreacting and start trusting yourself in relationships. So this is the process. This is the dance method. When you first get into the Speak Honest Academy, this is the first course you will go through. It's 5 simple modules that you follow along with ongoing support. So D, discover your attachment stance. You can't change what you don't see. So this is where we bring awareness to your specific patterns. A, alleviate old wounds. This is where we heal the attachment wounds at the nervous system level, not just talk about them. N, nurture your needs. You'll learn to identify and meet your needs without shame or guilt. C, communicate with confidence. You build the skills to set boundaries and express yourself without connection. E, embody secure attachment. I love that one. Because this is where, even when you finish the whole course, you still get to be a part of the academy and practice your new patterns. Because just because you go through the course, in the span of maybe 12 weeks, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're secure. Trust me, I tried. But you get to work through it with the skills that you have. Because becoming secure is about reliving things over and over and over again. It's all about repetition. So type yes in the chat if working through these 5 steps with ongoing coaching support feels doable for you. Let's see, who do we have? Beautiful. We still have Beth and Nancy and Sabrina and Kimberly. This is awesome. Great. So I want to dive a little bit deeper. And Beth, Nancy, Sabrina, or Kimberly, if you guys have any questions and you want me to like skip to anything specifically, just like let me know. Because I'll be able to do that. I'm just going to keep talking the way that I talk during these things. But given that you guys have all been pretty open and vulnerable and just kind of becoming part of the community now, I want to say that I would love to be able to answer any questions that you have. So if you're going on to the site and you're trying to sign in and you have any questions, let me know. These are the module breakdowns. So this is what it looks like when you join. So you have the Start Here course, and then you're going to have the Dance of Attachment course. And then eventually over time, more courses are going to open up. We also do monthly workshops. And really what it is we're just constantly getting together to learn how to rewire our nervous system. Each module guides you through what you need so you don't have to research or think. There's a video that you watch, and then there's homework that you do. And then every week we get together and we go through any questions you have around your homework or any questions you have around the worksheets, and you're able to work through it in real time. One of the really fun aspects is I use Google Docs. So you basically have access to me 24/7. You can email me any questions you have. You can email the team, but you can also just talk to me straight on your Google Docs. Use comments, anything like that. And I work with you one-on-one. So that way, this isn't just a once a week for 50 minutes thing. You basically, this is now a family, right? Like, oh, great question, Kimberly. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So for anyone that actually joins here, let me actually, I think I might talk about it right here. One of the things that we have is a success accelerator. And so one of the things it is when you become part of the academy, you are able to get live coaching. Oh, Sabrina, that's great. Let's get you the link and the code because I want to make sure you get to try it out first. I don't want anyone to just jump right in. You need to try us before you buy us, right? This is where it's at. I want to make sure this is the right place for you. We don't want anyone inside of the academy who feels forced there or stuck there or like they got had or, manipulated into joining. That's why this part is so important to me to make sure that you sign up and you want to try it and you want to see if you fit in. This is like dating. Like, "Hey girl, how's it going? How you doing?" kind of thing. Like this is like, do we fit for you as much as you fit for us? And so that's part of the academy. It's this very safe container to be able to come in and try out. And so every once in a while, we're able to offer these trials. And so get people to come in and see, hey, is this something that works for you? So part of our success accelerators is where we meet twice a week. So this is on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Kimberly, let me know if you have any more questions about that. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make those times due to my work schedule. No problem at all. I totally get that. If for some reason you do still want to try it, we also do workshops and you can still get access to the courses and you still get access to the private community. So you can still get so much out of it, even if you can't make it to the live coaching. Every Thursday, those sessions get recorded. So that a lot of women aren't able to come, but they ask me questions and I answer it live in the moment. So we're able to have that. You also get discounted one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So whereas a typical therapist might cost around $150 an hour, and I know that is typically what I charge, when you're inside of the academy, you get these very special 30-minute coaching calls with me for only $25 per coaching call. Something very special that I've been offering for a little while within the ladies, which is really nice. And so let's see, that's the live coaching that we have. Here we go. And then let's see. And then that is, I'm just going through my slides real quick to see what else I have. We just have Sabrina and Nancy left. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I would love to open it up to, let's see. Also, I forgot, I'm replaying this. So let me go ahead and just finish my little stuff for just a second. For anyone watching the replay, this is everything that you are getting inside of the course. This is the coaching, the modules, the private community, all of that. This is part of our private community that you have. This is our lovely ladies. It's so beautiful. Look at my girlies. I love them so much. This resonating with you. I just want you to see that you can become a part of this. Now, with everything going on inside of this program, we worked it out to be, where do you put the code in? Great question. It should be when you click on the monthly option and then you go to the next stage, there's going to be a thing that says put in code. Let me know if that helps. Otherwise, I can share my screen and show you. This is what's on the screen right now is the total value of the Speak Honest Academy with live coaching twice a week, private community, and all of the ongoing course content. So when I worked it all out, it came out to be about $12,000 a year, which is actually really ridiculous, by the way. And I know some coaches out there try to charge this amount of money, and I also think that's ridiculous. And this is why I made it my mission to help make healing as accessible as possible without devaluing the work that we do together. So it's why I won't ever charge you $12,000 a year or essentially what, $1,000 a month to work with me. Although I do know that there are other courses out there that cost that. There are other coaches, and that's great. But that is not me. I also know that those same courses that cost an arm and a leg usually have someone talking at you for a few hours a month. And you don't get that co-relational space that you get inside of the academy. So something that is incredibly important to me is to make sure that that is something you all have. So after your free trial, if you do decide to stay on with the Academy, it will only ever cost you $97 a month. That means you get access to the Academy with everything I just showed you for only $97 a month. And remember, for this first month, you get to try us out for a full month for free if you use the code Secure Start. And Sabrina will make sure that you find where to put that in. And if you need the link again, or if you need anything else, go ahead and let me know or reach out to me and email if you're watching this on the replay. So for those of you that are ready to stop spiraling and to stop saying things you regret and you want a step-by-step plan with ongoing one-on-one support to do that, here's how you get started. I do feel like I have been talking for enough now. So I would love to open this up to any of the ladies in the program that would like to share their story. Lynette, I know you and I chatted about that. Would you like to just spend a couple minutes sharing your experience?
Yes, I will try not to cry because um I've really seen a lot of growth in my marriage. I started back in I think late 2024. Um I had mentioned that I met or I had a good friend and I would reach out to her about anything that would go wrong in my marriage. And I don't remember how, but she let me know about Jen, about the Facebook group. And she kept reaching out and sending me all her workshops and things like that. And at first, I was like, about the program, I was stressed about money and I was just not thinking I can do it. And I made the decision to do it. And I think that's been the best decision in my life. I I think I put in the chat for the first time in my marriage. I think it was this past week. My husband came to me and said, can we just let this go?" And that was after like 4 days, and it was because sorry, I'm gonna cry because it was so
Good, you should cry.
because I've never felt this in my marriage, and I've been able to do it because of the tools I have and I learned from you. And um I was able to kind of like, yeah, stop and um and just let him come to me, basically, like not have my anxious self pop up. So it was huge, and I just thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for
In the
sharing that,
program.
Lynette. No, that means so much to me. Thank you so much. I think your story is so powerful and is so inspirational for so many women in relationships and marriages where they feel like, oh no, this is never ending or this is never going to change. But you're such a testament to if you put in the work and you just keep trying, like, okay, we're slowly going to get there. Because it can be hard when you have someone else who isn't necessarily doing the same type of work. So I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us for the masterclass this month. And I hope that if you have any questions surrounding the Speak Honest Academy, that you can reach out. Remember, go to speakhonestacademy.com to sign up. You can use the code Secure Start to try us out for free for a month. So that way you get to see if my coaching style works for you, if the other ladies in the community work for you. And it's all what it's all about. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And I will speak with you all next time. Take care.